We are talking about how retail is going digital. And with me is my amazing co-host. Hello, Paul.
Good afternoon. It is afternoon. I said
It is afternoon. It is afternoon. So guys, if you want to join us, if you have a retail business that you are wondering, how do I pivot? What do I do in this time of need? viralconnectivity.com. You see right here, it's scrolling on the bottom. It's also on the post wherever you're seeing us on social. You see there's a link on each and every one of those posts that you can click and hop on in and say hi and get your question answered about how to take retail and make it digital. And with us, we have Dean. Hey, Dean, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. This is fantastic. So Dean and I met at one of the masterminds that we belong to, Board of Advisors, and Dean was sharing how he has pivoted his retail business to the digital world to adapt to everything that's happening today. And so that's what we want to talk about today, because a lot of people, gyms, home designer, interior designers, realtors, a lot of people are having a challenge, kind of like, what do I do? People come to me and I don't know what to do with this internet thing. And you have a fantastic story of how you are pivoting and adjusting. So let's talk about the first business that you had, which is laser and facelift, right? That was like that would be a very difficult way to pivot to digital. And the new business that you have is also requiring people to come in. So let's start with the first one, with the facelift, with the laser, what you did there a little bit, how you grew it by focusing on relationships, and then we'll pivot to what you're doing right now to adapt.
Well, I appreciate that. The first business we had was a little bit different because we weren't with the pandemic.
Right.
So it wasn't like customers couldn't come see us. But what we did I help a lot of people in the Tampa Bay area with this, friends of mine. Mm-hmm. When you have clients, the biggest question you want to ask is, even in business to consumer, which we were business to consumer, is how do you build a relationship with your consumer even when they're not with you? And in our case, we did it through a lot of hand touches. We wrote handwritten notes to potential customers that we could not sell to. We did a lot of advertising. Mm-hmm. And we did a lot of engagement with celebrities and stuff. So we had a lot of brand awareness in that particular business.
So you shared something in the green room before we started. You were talking about marketing to blondes. So let's talk about that, because that is so unique. I don't know anyone who ever done that, put money in a market that's not his market, right? So let's share that a little bit.
Well, as a matter of fact, a lot of my friends we're talking about right now, and this story will resonate because I use this story all the time. We're talking about right now, you may not get a sale today, but today it's really imperative that you engage your customer, that you build brand value and relationship with your customer. So what we were talking about was back in the day with the laser hair removal, the hair removal device would not be able to treat a blonde. So when a blonde would come in, we couldn't treat her. So then she would leave and everybody go, well, you could never treat her. Why ever worry about her? We still contacted her in very subtle ways to keep a relationship with her. And somebody goes, why would you do that? And the reason we did it is when they genuinely have a relationship with you, people will refer you, not because you're giving them a special deal or whatever, but because they really trust you, and are proud to call you a friend or a business. So what we did was, a perfect example was, at Thanksgiving, our teams would handwrite a note to all of our customers, but to our blondes that we couldn't treat, mm-hmm. that had already come and gone, we hand wrote a note. And what we did is we wrote, have a happy Thanksgiving with your family, and we put a recipe card in for a pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
And that's all we did. And somebody goes, well, that's crazy. You can't even treat them. Right? That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Here's the math. This is where you want to think about building relationships. Everybody else has relationships. The most powerful sale in the world is a referred sale. And the most powerful referred sale is what I call a walk-by sale. So when they're all sitting there having lunch, because we knew 95% of the U.S. is brunettes and redheads we could treat. So 5% are true blondes, by the way. And so we knew that if there were 10 of them in a table, at least 9 of them would be customers. So we knew if they got this special touch from us, they would simply say, wow, you won't even believe I got a recipe card from Susie at Ideal Image in Alpharetta, and I can't even be treated. And their friends would go, well, what is Ideal Image? And they go, well, they do laser hair removal. Wow, I'd like to get that done. Well, let me hook you up with Susie. That's a powerful endorsement. Now when they come in, they're coming in to buy, not coming in to check you out.
So Dean, hold on. I need to clarify. So first of all, I didn't even know only 5% of the population are natural blondes.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
So why would most mainstream people like me know the parameters of who laser hair removal works for and doesn't? So these blondes would come in hoping to get it and then would have to be told they couldn't, but you were indexing them anyway, even though you never were able to sell them something.
Oh yeah. We didn't sit there and tell you if you're blonde, don't come see us.
Yeah.
Because we knew most blondes really aren't blondes. Don't take that wrong if you're on the show and they're blonde.
It's like I was like, wow, I never even thought of that. Yeah.
Well, there's a famous Patrick Monahan back years ago said everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but not to their own facts. So when I work with my teams, I'm a fact deep diver. And when I found the actual population was only 5% statistical blondes, it changed our world.
Yeah. Wow.
The joke is that because of the corona, the joke was like in 3 weeks, we all going to know everybody's true hair color. Right?
Oh, yeah, that's no question about it.
And so you grew that business, you sold that business, and now you moved into the health niche. So tell us a little bit about that and then how this whole pandemic affected your business.
Okay, so we have a company called Ness Health. And it's a health company. It's a holistic type health company. And I got involved a while back, and I got involved by accident because I went and had a scan and it showed me things about me that I didn't believe. And then I kind of became a believer. So now I'm CEO of the company. So we're an international company all over the globe. We have over 2,000 practitioners across the globe that are helping people out with our products. They're these infoceuticals and scans and all this stuff.
So wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
How does someone become from a patient who loves what they're doing to the CEO of the company?
Well, I got invited. I was doing a big speaking engagement. I'm 68 this year, so I'm retired. I've retired 4 times. And every time I'm retired, my wife always goes, I married you for better or worse,
right.
But not for lunch. You need to get out of here. So I've been helping companies, and I was doing a big speaking engagement to a big group of CEOs. And after the engagement, 2 or 3 of them came up, and this one gentleman came up and said, will you come see me? I have to ask you a question. I said, sure, I always do that. And I go and he starts telling me about this holistic health junk. And I'm like, yeah, right. Right. And then I scan the device. Here's actually the device. I didn't bring it for a show, but it looks like a mouse. So I scan the device, and this thing comes up on the computer and tells me stuff that there's no way in the world that they could have known about me. And I just put my hand on it. So I'm not going to get into selling that or talking about that. But at the end of the day, I got so ingrained in it. I started really researching, and I started helping him out. And he said, why don't you come in and I'll make you a shareholder and CEO, because you've grown big companies. We've never been able to get past our kind of out of our own way. And I said, I'm in. So now I find I got 20-something hundred practitioners across the world, and they haven't been held any love or whatever, but now I'm getting them all engaged. But here's where the funny thing happens. Not funny like, aha.
Yeah.
We start really rocking and rolling, and the pandemic hits.
Right.
Now all my practitioners are freaking out. Well, then I find in our warehouse, we have all these things work on a laptop in anybody's house.
So wait a second. This is interesting. But they freak out because people had to walk into the office to get the scan, right? That was the process. The process was like,
that was the business model, right?
right. The business model was like, hey, you see us on the website, you set up an appointment, you have to come in, we scan you, then we give you the results, and then whatever happens, right? We set the
Yeah.
And so then they're freaking out because nobody can walk in anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I'm sitting there going, so then I'm sitting there looking at our scanner and I go, well, wait a minute. You did this on a laptop. Does it take a special laptop? And everybody looks at me and goes, well, no. I said, then why don't we get tens of thousands of these and mail them to customers, have them scan at their house, do a virtual consult, and then the products we sell them, we can direct ship them. And everybody goes, aha. And that's what we're doing. We've sent out, I don't know how many thousands of scanners we've sent out in the last 4 weeks around the world, but we are sending hundreds every day, and our practitioners are engaging. And quite frankly, it's going to be a new paradigm shift for our business because the clients are really enjoying the ability to sit in their house, do the scan, find the results, get the needed help they need, and have it shipped to them in 2 or 3 days.
That's fantastic. So did you have any of the, distribution channels kind of affecting your business model? You can't ship fast enough, or you can't, are there any issues with sending things over the mail and actually getting them to people?
We haven't had too big an issue there. In some cases, it's a day or two longer. Our biggest thing is, and I think we're ahead of the curve, and you never know, something happened tomorrow you don't even expect.
Right.
But a lot of our products come out of China, but we've now they're open, so they're shipping product to us. And fortunately, we had about 3 months worth of supply or 4 months worth of supply that we've now burned through in a faster period, obviously.
Right.
But I think we're going to be able to stay ahead of it. But the biggest thing, it shifted. We did an unintentional pivot that's going to change our business model. It's going to allow us to expand even yet again.
That's fantastic. It's one of the biggest struggles that I see and I hear people talk about. They can't fathom pivoting, and even if they think about pivoting, they can't fathom pivoting that quickly, moving from retail, store walk-in to like, okay, we're doing this online. How did you take your company through that transition of like, okay, guys, now we're doing this online and this is how it works?
Well, the first thing you have to understand, or I've found in my career doing turnarounds of companies and stuff, is people are generally afraid of what they don't know.
Right.
And if you're the leader of your company, you have to step ahead. For instance, in our warehouse, I went out for 3 days and built boxes and packed scanners.
Oh, wow.
Well, that went through the whole network, that I'm the CEO of the company and I'm out building boxes. That went to our customers. It went all over the company. And the reason I was building the boxes was I wanted to see if there was going to be a box building problem. And guess what we all found out?
There is.
No, there's no box building.
We're good.
No, you know what all the guys in the warehouse finally did?
What?
They told me I had to get out of there. I was in their way. So, but what happened is they suddenly took ownership of it. They suddenly got excited. Every day they now text me how many we shipped that day. And we're making it a fun environment. We're taking this and taking the anxiety away and saying, hey, does what we do help people? And all of our team members across the globe say yes. Then we just need to shut up and make it happen. Right? And they go, yeah, you're right. Does it do any good to freak out? And I'm going to give you an example I've used with CEOs in my own teams. Mm-hmm. Have you ever ridden in a car? And if you want to do this is a hoot.
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you ever ridden in a car and all of a sudden you just seize the steering wheel and tense up? Everybody in that freaking car will get tensed up, thinking there's going to be an accident because they respond and react to you as the leader or the one in control of the car. So when you're a leader of your company and you're angsting like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I promise you, you're exponentially impacting what you're going to do down the line. If instead you empower your people to think of ways to do stuff, like I with my warehouse guys, I said, is there a way to do it faster? And they said, yeah. Then they said, we need to stay open later to ship. we found out the latest that the post office is open, and now we got a courier comes by and picks it. So we're giving even better service in the pandemic because our team members are coming up with these great ideas on their own because they're empowered to make a difference.
That's fantastic. How do you manage, the 6 feet distance in the warehouse with people? Does that kind of reduce the amount of people that can be in the warehouse packaging and doing things?
Yeah. If you look at our warehouse, it was already at 6 feet.
Okay.
Because what happens, we have a conveyor, and, as a matter of fact, if I tried to pull them together, I don't even know if I could get them together. So they come down a line and people pack the boxes, and then one person gets the box at the end and they're building the box. There's nobody that's even ever close to 6 feet unless they're going outside under a tree to have coffee in the past.
Gotcha. Are there any ideas that you have where, other people are watching it and they're retail and they don't have the infrastructure that you had? Any advice moving from retail to digital and actually using this time to grow their business and scale rather than like shrink?
Well, one thing that I've found, and we have practitioners, so we're growing our business out across the globe. And one of the things I've found is our practitioners are really our customers, so they're not employees. Mm-hmm. And so I'm helping them get more digital. And what happens is right now, if you're a business, a brick and mortar business, you need to have all the social media channels. Yep. You need to post stuff that's engaging, not advertising. Right. You need to, if you're in the restaurant business, a couple of my buddies here in Tampa have actually taken their restaurant businesses that were total bricks and mortars, and they now have really grown their business by revamping their menus and reaching out to their customers and doing, couples specials where they're sending the whole meal out in a box. They're actually average ticketing better in many cases than their average ticket was before. And it's not that quote, we're helping local restaurants. No, we're reaching the people that really want to have this unique experience.
Interesting. So is it more, do they spend more on advertising to reach those people? Because a lot of people are kind of pulling back. One thing about advertising, I've had in 2 of my companies, I had over $50 million advertising budgets. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of them, our hair removal, we would spend $25,000 per location per month. So in Tampa, we'd spend $125,000 a month. And somebody goes, all the locals go, how do you spend that much money? I never look at advertising as dollars ever because it'll freak you out. Right. I look at them as what is my lead cost? What is my acquisition cost? And once I know my lead cost, it becomes irrelevant. If my lead cost is $10 and I'm selling something for $2,000 and I need more leads, guess what? I just throw another 20 or 30 grand. Right. And if you know the math, going back to not opinions, but facts, right. When I go into companies just to help them, they'll go, man, we couldn't afford to spend this. And I go, well, what's your acquisition cost? They go, I don't know. Wow. I go, if at Ideal Image, we would, in the facelift company, we spent $50 million a year. We knew exactly what our acquisition cost for a lead was. Did the $50 million matter? No.
No,
you're right. What is it like? The internet marketing says you're printing money, right? Because you know how much comes in, you know how much comes out. As long as there's profit, right? You throw more money at it and more profit comes out.
Yeah, what you want to know your metrics. Yeah. You want to know your metrics. So if most of the time, if your acquisition cost should be between at a max 20% down to where mine would be normally in the 5 to whatever percent. And once I get it dialed in, because you'll know the channels that drive it. So you want to make sure you know how you're getting your leads. Are they coming in through your social media? Are they coming in through your website? I'm still amazed. This still startles me. How many entrepreneurs have websites and never look at their Google Analytics? Right. It just startles me.
Yeah, I know. And it's amazing how many people don't have they're in business and they don't have website, and their website are like billboards that are not producing money for them, right? Or that their social media is like completely out of date, or that you look one thing here and another thing there, that there's not an easy way to connect and interact with them. There's like a whole list. Paul is now going through educating people like local businesses of this is what you need to look like online if you actually want to make money with it.
Well, that's
I mean, there's a lot of pivoting people are going to do, but I will say one more thing.
Yeah.
Another for retails, another big item to do, and it's an incredible thing to do, is really get aggressive with your gift card programs.
Okay, say some more.
You want to have your customer be able to buy gift cards. So sell them $100 gift card for 60 or 70 bucks. I had a guy one time tell me, well, I can't afford the difference. Then I'm not going to tell you the name of the company, but one of the CEOs, it's a good buddy of mine that grew a $3 billion company. He taught me this years and years ago about gift cards. He said, do you know what the breakage is on gift cards, Dean? Do you know what breakage means?
How much do they use it?
Yeah, how much actually gets redeemed?
How much? Yeah, okay.
It's around 60%.
So 40% of people buy gift cards and never use them.
Or they have breakage. They lose it. They use it up some. They lose it in their dryer.
What?
It doesn't even matter how they do it. Or they never even go to the restaurant because they don't want to go there and somebody gave them the gift card.
Yep. I have a few of those in my wallet, actually.
We all do. We all do. That stat is not unique to one person, by the way.
Thank you for making me feel better. So your idea is like offer those gift cards even if you don't make a lot of money on them, because 40% will not use it, and that will kind of make up the margin. And
then when people come in, let's use a restaurant business. I helped a restaurant chain years ago, and it was a perfect example. How many restaurants do you guys go into online right now and they don't offer dessert? And they have dessert on the menu. And so I got this one chain. I said, let's always offer dessert. If they turn us down, what happens if 50% buy a $10 dessert? And they did the math. It was like crazy. I said, now you're the waiter, waitress. What happens to the 20% on that $10 or 15%, whatever you get tipped? Yeah. What happens to your income just by God, would you like a dessert?
Why?
It was crazy numbers.
So this is kind of like super size me, right? Would you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So super size me. Always offer the next level, and if they don't want it, it's totally fine because thing. But you're saying 10% or 20% will go for the next offer.
Yeah, and I would say to your folks out there, the biggest thing I'm finding with even my own practitioners around the country is now is a time to re-energize. You're going through a big challenge. The worst thing you can do is sit around and mope. Now's the time to sharpen your axe. Now's the time to make sure all those touches are right in your social media. Now's the time to reach out to all your previous clients and not necessarily puke all over them and tell them, I'll give you a special deal or something. Reach out to them and tell them, our staff and our team is thinking about you. Stay safe. You would be shocked at how many people love the genuine approach, and it should be genuine.
Yeah, this is one of the things when I heard you speak at BA at that mastermind that we had, that really jumped at me. That I love that you said, I'm very, very big on relationships. Paul, same way. We really invest in relationships, and we think that once you build those authentic relationships, that will take you to places you never thought you would get to, right? Like you never know. And most people, when they're thinking about their funnels, they're thinking leads and numbers. How many leads, right? And we're not looking at leads like you. We're looking like customers, people, right? Partners. How do we help them get to where they want to get, and not just like pump more leads and see what happens at the other side. So when you're focusing on relationships, and that kind of allows you to scale. A lot of people right now, they might be, fearing losing their entire business, no money comes in the door. They didn't put anything aside that can kind of help them through this transition. What can they do? What suggestion do you have for people to actually, if they don't have any more money to put into advertising or to buff up their website or stuff like that, they need money to come in. What can they do?
Well, I would say this. When people say they don't have any money, we're not talking about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. I use a service, and I'm not promoting it, but I use Fiverr. Have you ever heard of Fiverr?
I love Fiverr. One of my favorite. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you and I both know if you need your website tuned up or you need something really cool, you can go on Fiverr and get some high-rated person for like $20 to do something crazy cool for you. And I use them all the time. Reaching your customers, something I do all my teams now, and we're in I've been doing this now for 40 years.
Wow.
I will write somewhere around, in a normal week, 100 handwritten notes a week. And my teams write 100 handwritten notes, and they put a stamp on it, and it has the address and everything on. It's handwritten.
I'll tell you though, you have an unfair advantage because you have a really nice handwriting.
You know what the beauty of it is? That's what's so funny. When I write a handwritten note, I don't write like Mary, wherefore thou, a whole thing. I just go, have a great day. And I sign that. Nobody can read my name. That's why all my cards have all my data on the back.
Gotcha.
You never put a business card in. Never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever put a business card in, because that's salesy. When people get these, I can show you. This is 2 months of responses back from my handwritten notes.
That is super cool.
That's very cool.
That's really, really awesome, because I don't know any other CEO that takes the time to do this. That is fantastic.
Yep. But you know what? This has made me tens of millions of dollars. Somebody always goes, why would you do it? I said, Dean, or I tell him, I wrote a birthday note to a guy I hadn't seen in 3 years. He called me up. He goes, can I buy you lunch? Okay, so I got a lunch out of it, right?
Right.
While we were sitting there at lunch, he said, I have these 2 chiropractors that have a med spa. And I was retired. They go, would you go maybe visit with them for a few minutes? Well, I went and visited with them. They had one med spa in Tampa. We changed that to a company. It was called Ideal Image, but we changed it to laser hair removal. We grew it to 60 locations in 6 years and sold it for $180 million.
And all because of a birthday card. That's amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that birthday card was worth it for Mr. Dean?
Yes, and the other 2 guys, right? Like they've been doing it as well. Fantastic. It's amazing.
Yeah. So for I would say this: be genuine with your customers. Reach out to all your customers very genuinely. If you've got emails, reach out, but make them not pitches. Yeah. And really engage your customers in this time, because everybody's going through tough times. Right. But what's amazing is how many customers do have money, how many customers do want to help, and how many customers, quite frankly, that are not unemployed. And, it's tough out there. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Paul, you wanted to say something.
I have nothing to say. I'm sitting here taking notes. I'm like, I'm just going to school right now. Dean's amazing. This is great.
Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about, Paul and I, is how we just slow down my thought. Remember pen pals?
Oh yeah.
Right. So remember how we used to kind of send letters and kind of wait by the mailbox, and when something came, and how awesome that was. Now nothing comes in the mail, right? Except bills. And so when you get a letter like that, how awesome that is.
Oh, I know. And I have old guys my age, and they go, yeah. They sit there and they go, nobody does that anymore. And I go, you guys didn't do it when you were 20. I said, I've been doing it all my life. I got to tell you another really cool story.
Please, yeah.
About handwritten. I have 5 boys. My youngest son got found by accident. It's a long story, but he's the Ralph Lauren guy.
Okay.
He lives in New York, and he's a model all over the world and stuff. And the thing I'm so proud of him, he's a decent looking guy, but there's probably 10,000 decent looking modeling guys.
Right.
What separates him, and I'm so proud of him, is he has this kind of letterhead with his name and his brand and everything on it.
Yeah.
And after every photo shoot, he writes the photographer and the brand manager a handwritten note and says, thank you for letting me be part of your shoot. How many of those male models are that considerate of those brand managers and those photographers?
None.
And so when they have to go do a shoot and they have any insight on who they get to work with, you think there's any chance why he travels all over the world and they say, can we get this kid out of New York?
That is super cool. How does he find their addresses?
Oh, you can, trust me, you go online right now, I can find anything about anybody. And he'll send it to their office. Like if he's dealing with Calvin Klein, their headquarters in New York, he'll write, Mary Smith, blah, blah, headquarters, blah, blah. They get it.
Yeah.
So Dean, I'm a hypnotist by trade, and I have 3 different divisions of my hypnotism business, right? I do stage hypnotism for entertainment, and I see clients as a hypnotist, and I train hypnotists. And one of the things that I did I totally get. I live in New Hampshire, and I grew up on a farm, and my dad has made maple syrup for years on the farm. And so whenever I get booked for a show, as a thank you, I send a jug of maple syrup with instead of a business card, I have a postcard with a picture of the family farm. And I say, this maple syrup came from my family's farm. I appreciate the chance to be part of your entertainment needs. Thank you so much. And I ship people this maple syrup. And my agent, I started doing it a few years ago. My agent called me. He goes, what are you doing? And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, you're doing something. He goes, what's going on? He goes, you're sending people maple syrup? And I go, yeah. And he goes, they're going crazy. He goes, they love it. It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, it's epic. I got to show you something funny. Somebody asked me about this. They were in my office the other day, and I've been doing this for 40 years. So I buy these little tin cans. Can you see the tin can? Yeah. I buy these little tin cans, and then I got these stickers made, and I send these to all my friends and clients or potential clients, and all my ninjas do it all around the world. We send these to them. Can you read that?
Can of Florida sunshine.
It's a freaking empty can. We send it to everybody in snow areas, and we just put it in the mail with a note. And we go, hope you have a wonderful time. Just thought this would make you smile today. How do you think that impacts potential customers?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your maple syrup. That's epic.
I love it. This is so brilliant because so many people do the easy route. Here's a mug with my logo on it and your name on it, right? And one of my biggest challenges was like, how can I send something that's unique, nice, right? And fits everybody. Because if I send you coffee, maybe you're not a coffee drinker. If I send you a shirt, maybe it's too small. Like, how do I find something that fits everybody and is unique and they don't get it every day? And what you just shared is amazing.
Well, I would say this. I don't even care. It's like I wrote this stupid book. It's called Self-Talk. Well, somebody goes, and I send it to people for free all the time. And people go, first off, I had one guy call me up. He calls me up. He goes, Dean, I found 3 grammatical errors in your book. And I go, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah. I said, how many more grammatical errors are there in my book versus your book? And he goes, well, I haven't written a book. And I said, then shut up. And the funny thing is after you write one of these stupid books and people like it and it's on Amazon and all that crap. But if you go to Walgreens and you buy a card for somebody, they're $3.50. My book cost me $2.50 to get printed. So I send everybody a copy of a book saying, hope it makes you smile today. Somebody goes, what if they don't read it? I said, I don't even care.
Right.
It's back to your maple syrup. It's whatever you're sending, whether you're sending a cup of coffee and they don't drink coffee, trust me, they will always treasure that unique touch and thought.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. We have Pedro from Twitter saying shalom. So hi, shalom, Pedro. This is super cool, Dean. I love it so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, you mentioned that health scanner. Let's just tell people where they can get it and just a little bit about this, because if it revealed stuff about you, I'm sure a lot of people going like, what is it going to reveal about me? So let's share just a little bit about that. Tell people where they can find it, and wish you a happy Tuesday. It's Ness, NES Health, NessHealth.com, and you just go find a practitioner. Okay. And our practitioners all around the globe, you can click on. Now, I got to tell you, hopefully that page is working, because I just did a deep dive over the last 2 weeks of our website. We have this really sophisticated website
that everybody was so proud of when I became CEO. And I started deep diving and found things broken. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And you just go find a practitioner. And
so this is the
yeah, there it is.
Block. Find the practitioner. So I'm keep going down.
It should be up at the top.
Yeah.
Should
right
be.
here. Got it.
See, no, up at the very top. See, it says find it. Yeah, right there.
There we go. So, and then you put your zip code.
Yeah, now see if it's broken. It may be broken. They're supposed to have it fixed. Now that
You
worked.
don't
Working
have
for
anyone
me,
in
Dean,
mind.
it
Oh, yeah, you
works.
do have someone.
Okay, now what was the broken part was when you go to send a message. But yeah, that works.
Okay, cool. So this is where people you can find practitioners next to you. You only have one in Austin. So Austin peeps, jump on it. And so what happens when you get a practitioner and you get scanned?
They're going to sit with you and go through. They're going to sit with you and go through the scan. And I'm going to just share it with everybody. You have to make your own judgment. Everybody I've scanned, I've gone to my CEO buddies and said, put your hand up on this thing, I'm going to scan you. And everybody that I've scanned, when they read that report, are totally freaked out.
What does it tell you about you that kind of freaks people out?
Well, in my case, it told me about my diabetes, which I already knew about. But the practitioner said, this is off this thing that looks like a mouse.
Right.
I don't know how it works. Somebody asked me how it works. I said, I don't know. It's kind of like this. That's gravity. I don't know how gravity works. All I know is when I put my hand up there, about 30 seconds later, this report came out and it told me stuff about me that I'd never thought about, stuff I knew, and then other stuff. And then when I gave it to my wife to look at, it even deals with your emotional and a lot of your more your energy, and it talks about energy, sleep patterns and stuff. And you know what? If you get scanned, I'm not here selling.
Right.
I'm saying if you got a scan and you see what I saw, you're gonna want to learn more, I think.
And so then you have an entire gamut of it's not oil, but it's kind of like what do you call these that help you change the energy and actually change the pattern?
Yeah, they're Energized Water.
Yeah. And so you have a gamut of that. And then, so the way that it works is someone gets scans, discovers everything that's not going right. And it's basically kind of like you're testing people's energies and frequencies. And based on that, where the blockage is, right? Which is amazing to me that we can take vibrations, energy, right? And turn them into analysis and know exactly what's going on. And then yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if anybody's into Eastern medicine at all, the whole chakras and all the stuff I'm learning more about, this is it on steroids. What I equated, one of my buddies asked me, I said, it's like understanding all the theories of Eastern medicine that's been around way before traditional medicine.
Yeah.
And our founder 18 years ago discovered how to get that data so it was meaningful and useful.
Yeah. And then, you have all kinds of different energized water that people can take. But I'm assuming you're not sending this without the scan, right?
Yeah, you have to have a scan because there's like 40 or 50 of those, and it'll recommend you need this bottle or you don't need any or whatever. And all I can say is you're looking at a skeptic.
Yeah. I'm a skeptic
when I
too,
did this,
so I, from
oh,
one
no.
skeptic to another.
When I did the scan, that blew me away. Then I started a water regimen about 2 months ago, and I'm just one of those guys that just says it worked.
That's fantastic. I'm also, especially with energies and stuff, put the woo-woo over there and let's let science do its thing. But if anyone wants to try it, you now get a scanner to your house. And I'm assuming what's really cool about now that people have the scanners in their house, they can take the water and they can scan themselves and see changes in real time, right?
Yeah, but you don't usually scan yourself every hour.
Not every hour.
You would scan yourself twice a month, and that's where I see the changes happen.
It's really cool. Diane is here. I don't know if she wants to jump on and say something, but Diane is also very well She's an herbalist. Right, Diane? I'm going to unmute you and just see if you want to. There you go. If you want to jump in.
Okay, I'm going to do my video. There we go.
Hi.
Oh, Dean, you're awesome.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm just at the beginning stage. I'm a massage therapist, doctor of naturopathy, master herbalist, and just all around interest in brain science and anything to do with health. And I'm just getting started to go on to being online. I'm approaching my 60s, so I want to transition from working in my home, just doing massage, to getting online. And so I'm having to think of what to sell, basically, instead of having people come to me.
Well, obviously, I'm not here selling our company, but our company, you have to be certified. But if you're a certified massage therapist, I think that's one of the regimens that's already accepted. And then you take a course, and it's a system, and it allows you to do remote stuff. I have one woman that is in Houston, and I'm relatively new. And I've gotten to know her really well. She just moved her whole practice to Lafayette, but she's able to take care of all of her patients in Houston without any interruption by doing all this stuff virtual.
Yes, I'm going to look into this. I actually think I'm familiar with the NES, so I recognized it. So I'm anxious to go out there and check it out again.
Well, if you need anything, or you get head up again, this isn't a sales pitch, but you can get Dean.Akers at Ness Health and email me, and I'll try to help direct it if you have any challenges.
How long's this reader that you scanner that you have going out to people? How long's that been around? You said the founder.
I'm going to say the different iterations, probably about 10, 11 years.
Okay. I've seen products kind of similar, but this takes it to a new level and much easier. So I'm pretty excited to look.
Wow, I didn't think this would turn into an infomercial.
I know, but I learned a lot of other things too.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is the beauty of engaging with people face to face in real time. You never know what's going to happen, right? So Diane is doing actually really amazing things that you're not talking about, Diane. I don't know why.
Oh, that's true.
But she just, aside from her massage therapy, she's also like an herbalist that helps people with all, getting their immunity up, using, what is it, oils or buck, or what is it?
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I give people lots of options because there's lots of ways to work on your immune system. So I give people options.
And the one thing that she's been struggling with is, I do everything at home, or in office, face to face with people. One of the things that she's doing is like block therapy, which is massage through a block, which is really great.
Right.
That is a self. Yeah. Thanks, Ifat. That is a self-therapy that you teach people how to do in their own home. And so I'm thinking of taking that to being totally online. So that's a huge, I call it the anti-aging block. It's sort of a exercise therapy and a meditation all rolled into one. And you lie on a block of wood, basically. I know it sounds ridiculous, but until you try it, you have no idea how amazing it is to your health and how much better and mobile you become in your own body.
Wow.
Yeah, and so her challenge has been throughout, how long do we know each other? Like 6-7 years? How do I take that and transition to the online? Which is why I was like, dude, you have to come here and talk to Dean, because that's exactly what he does. He takes the retail and move it into the digital. So people like Diane, who have a home-based business, they're not, they don't have teams, they don't have warehouses, they don't have things like that, that do want to transition and build relationships with their clients. What would you suggest would be the path to take to get there?
Well, I would suggest doing exactly what she's doing, come up with the Zoom calls like this and talk them through stuff. If she's doing the block massage where they're self-massaging themselves, obviously if she's doing hands-on massages, she's not going to be able to do that virtual. But there's probably a lot of things that, especially as she mentioned, getting people's energy aligned and all that, and all the homeopathic stuff she can recommend. There's probably products she can sell. Do you have Diane a pretty good website right now?
Pretty much just a
No,
picture.
she doesn't. No.
That's it.
No.
Yeah, and one of the things I've recommended now that I've gotten involved with all our practitioners across the world, do you have a good email address?
Yes.
What is it?
Diane.massagetherapy@gmail.com.
That, don't take this wrong. That's not a good email address. Why?
Too long.
No.
No. Gmail, this is a subtlety I've been teaching entrepreneurs for a long time. If you use Gmail is for your personal account. Go ahead and go to one of the sites, GoDaddy, One-on-One, Ionis, one of those, and buy a domain name.
Mm-hmm.
And for $10 a month, you can have your own, or $10 a year, I'm sorry. $10 a year, you have your own unique domain name, which becomes your domain for your website. So if you have massage health, blah, blah, at, .com, then you have your name. If you get new people or you want info it's a subtle branding touch that separates you from all what I call the Gmail clan. What Gmail means, and please take this with the politest of comment.
It's okay.
It's mom and pop on steroids.
I know what you're saying. I did this for my husband's flying club. I got a domain name and I understand how to do all that. So that's good to know.
Yeah, it's a very subtle thing, but when you're talking about, it's like the Olympic swimming, the difference between gold and silver medal is 1/100th of a second. In business, it's 1/100th of a second. It's those subtle things. It's having note cards with your stuff on the back, so that when you have a patient, you write them and go, Fred, you're doing so well. You send it, it's 55, 60, we call it $1 by the time you pay for everything.
Yeah.
And they
I'm
get
taking
that.
notes.
Yeah.
Got that in my notes.
And then they tell people, they go, somebody is aching and they go, man, you need to call Diane. It's those subtle touches that are unique. Email blasts. I'm not an advocate, and I've used them. I've got all the analytics, and they will work. So you can do the law of averages when you send 25,000 out and you get 100 responses. Yeah, you got 100 responses and you just hit a button. I can get 500 responses other ways with a little more effort. My whole team's focused on those little more efforts.
I love that. This is so great. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everybody is watching us online and offline. No, online. Everywhere that you're watching us benefited from this. Then this is fantastic. We'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much for all your wisdom today. It's been amazing. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, please let us know.
Well, thank you for letting me be a guest.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, for joining us. And thank you, Paul, for being an amazing co-host. And
thank you, Paul. And my testimony for laser hair removal. We did a good job.
And I am a true blonde, so a little silvery, but
5%er.
5%er. So thank you guys so much. Thank you those who are watching us, who have joined us and watched us. Tomorrow is Passover, so happy Passover to all my fellow Jews. We will not be here, but we will see you Thursday at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Mike says good stuff on Facebook. So thanks for joining us, Mike. And thank you guys. Have a fantastic day. We will see you.